everyone! My name is Maki. I've come from Japan to share the excitement of Gundam with all of you. Do you like simple Gundam designs? The original Gundam had standard equipment such as a beam rifle, beam saber head Vulcan cannons, and shield. A similar type of mobile suit exists in Gundam Seed, which is often called the first Gundam of the 21st century. Its name is Duel Gundam. It is a Gundam that opposes the protagonist. The main character pilots the Shroud Gundam, which is the star of Gundam Seed. It's quite interesting to have a dual Gundam that serves as an adversary and bears a resemblance to the original Gundam. This Gundam is incredibly strong and cool. Now, let's learn more about the dual Gundam. Let's talk about the origin of the dual Gundam. The Duel Gundam is a mobile suit developed by the Earth Alliance with technical assistance from the Orb Union state-owned company Maki. It may seem a little strange, doesn't it? Why would the neutral Orb Union cooperate with the Earth Alliance? The Earth Alliance is a huge organization that dominates the Earth, and Orb exists on Earth too. It's natural to want to get along. But there was more to the story. When the Earth Alliance established a cooperative relationship with Orb had obtained Adium Zacht's mobile suit. The Jane, however, as a neutral country, Orb's military technology was inferior compared to the Earth Alliance and Zacht. The Earth Alliance possessed abundant Adium weapons, armor materials, special techniques, and weapon operations. These elements were appealing to Orb. Depending on how you see it, it could be considered a kind of backroom deal. Orb is home to many coordinators as well. Cooperating with the Earth Alliance was a risky move for them. The Duel Gundam is one of the 5 prototypes developed under the GEO Weapon Development Project. It was the first to be completed among the 5 Gundams, and the other Gundams were produced by applying and advancing the technology and data obtained from the construction of the Duel Gundam. The Duel Gundam was developed with the intention of combating Zacht's mobile suits, which were equipped with ballistic weapons and solid souls at the time. The Earth Alliance suffered a major defeat against Zacht and needed to respond urgently. However, the Earth Alliance had no prior experience in developing mobile suits. With the assistance of Orb, the development of the Duel Gundam began, focusing on basic performance. One particularly important aspect was the reproduction of human body mobility. It was envisioned to operate in various environments, switching between different weapons for combat. As a result, the Duel Gundam became an extremely agile and nimble machine that outperformed the Zacht's larger, heavy-duty machines based on construction machinery. Other Gundam models were then created based on the foundational frame developed by the Duel Gundam. This foundational frame was excellent and later utilized in the mass-produced Strike Dagger and the new generation GAT series Gundams. That's why you can find design similarities between the GAT-X series and the Duel Gundam in the real-world plastic model kits, which is quite fascinating. Furthermore, the Duel Gundam introduced a special armor called Phase Shift Armor to counter Zacht's miss, equipped with solid rounds and solid souls. This armor has the ability to neutralize almost all solid weapons by applying a certain voltage to the armor material. It induces a phenomenon called phase transition, which alters the properties of the armor. It's an amazing technology, but unfortunately 4 out of the 5 G weapons, including the Duel Gundam, were captured by Zacht, leading to the leakage of beam weapon technology. As a result, the advantage of phase shift armor was greatly diminished. However, it continued to be employed in high-performance machines that prioritized capabilities over budget among the later produced units. The distinctive facial design of the DUEL Gundam was also established. The V-shaped antenna and twin eyes provided excellent search and visibility capabilities. However, the structure became overly complex, making it unsuitable for mass production. As the name suggests, the DUEL Gundam represents duels, or one-on-one battles. Its primary tactic is close-quarters combat. Utilizing its high maneuverability, the DUEL Gundam's role is to utilize weapons such as the beam rifle and beam saber to destroy enemies on the front lines. While the DUEL Gundam may have a simple and versatile appearance, its well-balanced design allows it to adapt to various battle situations. It can maintain defense with its phase-shift armor, while displaying high maneuverability. Surprisingly, when the story of Gundam Seed concluded, the DUEL Gundam was the only surviving GAT-X series unit. Let's talk about the Assault Shroud, the additional equipment for the DUEL Gundam. The DUEL Gundam Assault Shroud is a redesigned form of the Earth Alliance's first-generation missing enhancement parts called Assault Shroud, specifically designed for equipping the DUEL Gundam. In the story, the DUEL Gundam suffers significant damage while fighting against the Strike Gundam. It was the additional armament installed on the DUEL Gundam when it was repaired by Isaac Jewell, the pilot who swore revenge against the Strike Gundam. The DUEL Gundam Assault Shroud has enhanced defensive capabilities due to the additional armor. However, since the added armor is not phase-shift armor, it is slightly disadvantaged against solid projectiles nonetheless. The damage to the main body is reduced, resulting in overall improved defense. By attaching the Assault Shroud, the total weight of the DUEL Gundam increased to over 100 tons from approximately 60 tons, significantly restricting its mobility under gravity. However, the addition of high-output thrusters on the backpack and legs improved its maneuverability in space combat. As the DUEL Gundam Assault Shroud was initially deployed in space, there were no issues in that regard. Furthermore, the firepower of the DUEL Gundam is increased with the railguns and missiles added to its shoulders. The Assault Shroud unit was primarily developed to enhance firepower and mobility. It represents the realization of the pursuit of the DUEL Gundam's foundational structure. Of course, let's not forget the remarkable technical skills of the coordinator pilots who quickly repaired and modified the stolen weapons. The Assault Shroud itself is based on additional armaments planned for use by Zaft's standard mobile suits, such as the Jing. The remarkably prompt deployment was achieved due to these circumstances. It was a plan to conduct tests for both new weapons and stolen weapons simultaneously. While it couldn't defeat the Strike Gundam, its performance improvement was remarkable. Not only Zaft but even the Earth Alliance created equipment inspired by the Assault Shroud. By the way, in ground combat under gravity, it is often operated while riding a support unit called GAT-X103 X2 Sword Striker unit, or simply GAO. In the world of Gundam, it is also referred to as a sub-flight system. With the GAO, the DUEL Gundam Assault Shroud can fly even under gravity. Without it, its movements would be significantly restricted. It's quite a pity to see it struggle in situations like sinking into the sand in the desert, causing instability. Lastly, I'll add one more piece of information. Assault Shroud translates to a cross that wraps a corpse. It has quite an unsettling meaning. How would you feel about attaching such equipment with that name to your own mobile suit? Some may find it unbelievable, but similar attempts exist in the real world. In Japan, there was a famous samurai named Yukiro Sonoda. He and his comrades attached a decoration resembling a coin called Lomonsen to their helmets when they went into battle. This Romanon is the money required for a person who has passed away to cross over to the land of the dead. It's the money to pay when boarding the boat to the land of the dead. It's not something you would want to carry around in your everyday life. However, Yukiro Sanada and his comrades attached it to their helmets. They wore it as a symbol of their bravery, signifying that they were not afraid of losing their lives. They became particularly famous samurai in Japanese history. Perhaps when Isaac, who had resolved to achieve victory, added the equipment named the Sword Shroud to the Duel Gundam, he had a similar mindset. He suffered a large scar on his face during the battle against the Stray Gundam. The damage was not limited to the Duel Gundam alone. While the medical technology of the coordinators could easily erase the scar, Isaac chose to keep it. It was an action he took to never forget his determination to defeat the Stray Gundam. Let's talk about the equipment of the Duel Gundam. First, let's examine the standard equipment without the assault shroud. The first is the 70 Finsman anti-aircraft Vulcan turret system Eagle stand mounted on the head. It's a weapon also found on other Gundams, originally developed for ships. It was adapted for misuse. The Air's Alliance aimed to enhance weapon stability by utilizing reliable weapons they had been using. The Duel Gundam has two of these mounted in its head. Since they are relatively small caliber weapons, they have difficulty penetrating the armor of larger enemy units like mobile suits. However, they are effective against older combat aircraft and tanks. They are also useful in intercepting missiles and other projectiles due to their excellent target tracking capabilities. By targeting the weaker sensor areas of mobile suits, advantageous situations can be created. It is also possible to attack with other armaments when the enemy assumes a defensive posture. Next, let's talk about the Duel Gundam's primary weapon, the high-energy beam rifle. This beam rifle is extremely powerful, capable of destroying enemy Jin units in a single shot. At the time of its completion, it was an advanced and formidable weapon. If the technology hadn't leaked, it could have led to the Earth Alliance's overwhelming victory. The beam rifles used by the Stray Gundam and other Gundams were manufactured based on the data obtained from this beam rifle. While there may be some differences in design and specifications, the majority of the structure remains the same as the Duel Gundams. The Duel Gundam's beam rifle also has dedicated additional armaments. It can be equipped with a 170 Finsman grenade launcher on the lower barrel, enabling attacks over a wide area using explosive blasts. The Duel Gundam is also equipped with beam sabers. Like the beam rifle, they are advanced and powerful weapons. They are much lighter and more destructive than the heavy cutting swords used by the Jin. Two beam sabers are mounted on the upper part of the backpack, serving as vital equipment for close-quarters combat. It is generally assumed that only one beam saber is used at a time, with the other serving as a spare weapon. Using both beam sabers simultaneously consumes a significant amount of energy. However, Isaac has demonstrated the ability to use both beam sabers at critical moments to defeat powerful enemies. It showcases Isaac's exceptional decision-making skills and the high performance of the Duel Gundam's basic capabilities. Personally, I find these actions to be exceptionally impressive. Furthermore, the Duel Gundam is equipped with an anti-beam shield. This shield is coated with a special paint that provides effective defense against beam weapons. Although similar in appearance to the one equipped on the Stray Gundam, it has a different color. It is evident that the development of shields was already completed with the Duel Gundam. Additionally, the DUEL Gundam is equipped with a 315 rail bazooka called Gaibold. It is named after a powerful spear in Irish mythology. The name reflects the Earth Alliance's honest desire for victory against theft. This bazooka is a linear cannon that accelerates projectiles electromagnetically using an elongated barrel. The ammunition does not have propulsion mechanisms and is fired through electromagnetic acceleration. It is an excellent weapon, and later it goes into mass production. In the story, it appears to have been lost during an attack, when the DUEL Gundam was stolen by Aft forces, preventing the retrieval by the Earth Alliance. In spin-off works, there are depictions of units such as the Gundam Stray Gold Frame, recovering and using this bazooka. It is also frequently seen in games and other media that the DUEL Gundam is equipped with it. Additionally, the DUEL Gundam uses weapons borrowed from other units. During the final battle, it utilized the Buster Gundam's ultra-high impulse long-range sniper rifle. This was made possible because both units belong to the GAT-X series, and the software and DOM connectors were compatible. There are also scenes where it is equipped with the Stray Gundam's beam rifle and shield. It's incredibly cool to see the DUEL Gundam equipped with weapons from other units. Notably in these scenes, the DUEL Gundam remains undamaged while it has lost the assault shroud. Its main body remains unscathed. It is a remarkable outcome indeed. That concludes the explanation of the DUEL Gundam standard equipment. Let's talk about the equipment of the DUEL Gundam Assault Shroud. First, we have the 225 tube missile part. It is stored on the left shoulder of the Assault Shroud. This equipment is inspired by the armament of the Buster Gundam, another unit from the GAT-X series. It showcases the impressive technical skills of coordinators who can quickly analyze and adapt captured weapons. It also plays a significant role in the impactful opening scene, where all the weapons are fired simultaneously, combining the linear shots of the beam rifle and railgun with the wide-range attack of the missiles to corner the enemy. Next is the 115-man railgun Shiva, named after the Hindu god of destruction. It's remarkable how coordinators also use names from mythological weapons. This powerful equipment is installed on the right shoulder of the Assault Shroud. It excels in both power and rapid-fire capabilities. It utilizes electromagnetic force to launch solid projectiles, making it highly effective against non-phase shift armored mobile suits. Originally developed as additional armament for the Gen, it was adapted for use on the DUEL Gundam. It is often considered less effective against the Stray Gundam, which utilizes phase shift armor. However, as depicted in the story, continued use of phase shift armor leads to energy depletion, and the impact on the unit cannot be mitigated. In the hands of an ace pilot like Isaac, it becomes a formidable weapon that can hold its own against the Stray Gundam. Additionally, the immediate application of beam weapon technology was likely challenging, contributing to the decision. This railgun is not only powerful, but also advantageous as it can be used without obstructing the arms. It can also be detached and used handheld, if necessary. This equipment was also considered for mass production. However, it was later abandoned with the introduction of beam weapons as standard armaments. But the situation becomes more complicated. With the prevalence of beam weapons as standard equipment, the proliferation of anti-beam weapon defense systems becomes significant. This includes technologies such as anti-beam coatings and laminated armor. In such a context, non-beam weapon armaments like the railgun were recognized for their effectiveness. Subsequently, the technical basis of the Kuwashi Railgun, which would be mounted on the Zaft's ultimate unit, the Freedom Gundam, and produced with full effort was established. It was thanks to Isaac, who gained flexibility and combat data from frontline mechanics, that the more powerful Gundam was born as a result. The 150-man railgun shield became an essential weapon. Let's talk about the battles of the DUEL Gundam. The DUEL Gundam was completed in Heliopolis. However, it was stolen by Zaft's recruit team, who had obtained the information, and Isaac Ju became its dedicated pilot. Among the pilots who boarded the Gundam simultaneously, Isaac was the first to successfully activate it. He then managed to bring it back to the affiliated battleship and successfully deliver the Gundam's data to Zaft. This led to engaging in combat with the Stray Gundams as a practical test for the DUEL Gundam. While the DUEL Gundam initially fought in space, it had an accident that caused it to descend to Earth. It joined forces with the ground commanders and fought against the Stray Gundams, but was unable to achieve victory. It's unfortunate that the assault Shroud, which was designed for space battles, didn't have many standout moments. However, the DUEL Gundam actively participated in battles against enemies other than the Stray Gundam and successfully defeated many foes. In fact, the Earth Alliance, after witnessing the performance of the DUEL Gundam Assault Shroud, reproduced the Assault Shroud for their mass-produced mobile suits. In the final battle, the DUEL Gundam faced off against the cutting-edge GAT-X series, including the immensely powerful Freedom Gundam and Justice Gundam. Personally, I find it very enjoyable to see an older model engaging in combat with the latest units. During the battle with the Forbidden Gundam, the DUEL Gundam took a direct hit from a powerful beam cannon. Viewers understand that it was seemingly defeated by the expanding explosion. However, an astonishing turn of events occurs. From within the smoke, the DUEL Gundam equipped with two beam sabers emerges. The scattered debris was from the additional equipment, the Assault Shroud. The DUEL Gundam rapidly closed in on the Forbidden Gundam and first severed its arms with the right hand beam saber. This rendered the Forbidden Gundam unable to counterattack with its weapon. Then, the DUEL Gundam destroyed its cockpit with the left hand beam saber. This attack was made possible because the DUEL Gundam had two beam sabers, although it consumed a considerable amount of energy. Isaac's judgment allowed for its effective use. I personally consider this to be a remarkable feat and a memorable moment in Gundam Seed. Furthermore, the DUEL Gundam also fights against the latest unit from the GAT-X series, the Raider Gundam. While protecting the heavily damaged Buster Gundam, it confronts the Raider Gundam. Due to the Raider Gundam's attacks, the DUEL Gundam loses its beam rifle and finds itself in a desperate situation. However, it immediately utilizes the weapons of the Buster Gundam and destroys the Raider Gundam. The Buster Gundam and DUEL Gundam share the same specifications, enabling this attack. Do you remember? I introduced earlier that the DUEL Gundam was developed to handle various weapons and adapt to changing battle situations. This victory truly exemplifies the development concept of the DUEL Gundam. It's worth noting that Isaac first used the high-impulse, long-range sniper rifle of the Buster Gundam during this battle. The enemy was the highly agile Raider Gundam, a cutting-edge model from the GAT-X series. With a single shot, Isaac destroyed the cockpit. It's a scene that showcases Isaac's skill as an ace pilot. After the war ended, the DUEL Gundam was returned to the Earth Alliance. It continued to serve as a technological and historical artifact, being displayed in museums and contributing to the preservation of knowledge. Here is the explanation of the DUEL Gundam. I have a great fondness for this Gundam. I am fascinated by Isaac's skills, who piloted this unit from the beginning and fought until the end of the story. There is a bit of disappointing information. In the TV version, the DUEL Gundam defeats the Wader Gundam. However, in the special edition version, which includes additional edits, the Wader Gundam is destroyed by the Buster Gundam. What do you think about this? Personally, I think both scenarios are fantastic. I am further captivated by Isaac's considerate nature in giving his comrades opportunities to shine. What do you find cool about the DUEL Gundam? Please let me know in the comments if you'd like. I personally love the scene where he defeats the Forbidden Gundam. The sight of launching an attack in a lighter state after discarding the additional armor is incredibly cool. Lastly, I have some important information to share with you right now. The Forbidden Gundam is targeting you. Be prepared as beams will be coming your way. Please activate your shield by clicking the subscribe button. Next, deactivate the assault shroud by clicking the like button. And finally, charge forward by clicking the bell button. You too can make a difference. Just like Isaac, do your best. And I'll be cheering you on until our next lecture. Take care and see you then.